good. Welcome everyone. So today we're going to be answering some more of your EIDL loan, PPP questions, or any stimulus question you have whatsoever. I'm going to do my best to answer anything that you throw at me, but just in the event that I don't know the answer, I will get back to everyone, or I'll make a video about it later on in the future. We already have a couple of questions that have been thrown at us, so let me go ahead and start with one of those questions. All right, so we have a question from D. D is asking, does getting an EIDL loan approved and issued affect your business credit score or create one? My business was approved. It is reported every month to the credit bureaus. Okay, so with the EIDL loan, they actually checked out your Experian credit when they gave you the loan, but it's not being reported on your personal credit, on your Experian credit. Now, as far as your Duns and Bradstreet score or your business credit, I do think it'll pop up on there because it is tied to your business's EIN number. So I haven't heard from anyone yet if it's popped up on their business credit. We will look into that answer for you deeper. So thank you for that question, D. Let's move on to our next question. I'm sorry I couldn't have been more detailed on that one, but let's go ahead and see what else we have. So Sauce Witherspoon is asking, let's say you get the loan, spend it how you are supposed to, keep records and receipts, and down the line your business still hasn't survived and must close down. Will you be forgiven? Okay, so there isn't any forgiving in this loan built in. It's not to say that there isn't going to be something in the future that's going to be passed to help out any struggling businesses who couldn't make it. But remember, guys, these are government-backed loans, and normally with government-backed loans, there isn't too much forgiveness. Just ask any student who's taken out college loans. They're not really caring if you don't have the ability to pay it later on. You have to find a way to pay it. Now, filing for bankruptcy, I'm not sure if that'll wipe it out or take care of it. I'm not 100% sure about that because bankruptcy does not wipe out student loans either. So I do think that if you're taking these loans, you better be in it for the long run. And just talk to your accountant. Remember, guys, talk to your accountant always before making any decisions with these loans. If you've taken a loan and after getting information from your accountant and from other places that you've looked around, if you want to return it, that is an option. So don't think that it's over if you've received the money. If you've gotten anywhere between $10,000, $150,000, doesn't matter. You can return the money if you feel like it's not going to work for you, or if you feel your business won't survive either with or without the money. So make sure that you do take that into consideration. All right, so we have another question here from Chris Aiello. So Chris is asking, any more news on owner draws? Yes, thanks for that question, Chris. Yes, so we have been receiving information from different people who have been contacting the SBA directly themselves, and what they've stated is that you are allowed to pay yourself from the EIDL loan as long as you've provided services for the business. So if you conduct routine services, then I would assume you can also routinely pay yourself. Remember, guys, I'm not making up these rules. If you have any doubts whatsoever, there is a number you can call for the SBA. I know they're hard to get in touch with sometimes, but if you're patient, you can get someone even on level 2 to answer your question. If you really, really are persistent, you sometimes can even get a loan officer on the phone. And I've heard that from people who have called that they've been so persistent, they've gotten a loan officer on the line, and that loan officer has approved their loan pretty much on the spot, and also has made sure that the grant portion of the EIDL loan has been pushed through quickly. So yes, you can pay yourself, Chris. Thank you for that question. From what we're being heard, you can. Just make sure you don't abuse that and overpay yourself, okay? We're not able to just go crazy with it. All right, next question we have is from Kartik Subraman. Hope I pronounced that right. Very few entrepreneurs are going to want to throw in the towel with $1,000 or $150,000 in the bank, so 30 years to pay it back. Yeah, you got 30 years to pay it back, that's for sure, but remember, guys, $150,000 in business can go pretty quickly. If you spend it all in your first year and you spend the next 29 years paying it back, that may not be such a great thing. You know, we always have to think about tomorrow. A lot of entrepreneurs and people in general, a lot of times we just live for today and we just think about what fires we can put out with money right now. But then later on, we have to work tirelessly to pay that money back. So if you feel that your business is antiquated and needs a rejuvenation, this money's not for that. This money is to continue the business as it is. If you feel like your business needs to go into a different direction, you may want to scrap the whole thing and start over. I know it's difficult, with no capital, but there are alternatives to taking the EIDL loan. One of the alternatives that a lot of people are missing, and I'll be doing a video on this very soon, is that we have the ability to do crowdfunding. We could do crowdfunding with our circles, with our families, through social networks. We could do crowdfunding if our business is really that lucrative or if our business is that interesting, and we don't have to worry about taking EIDL loans. And with crowdfunding, remember, if we screw up, we don't have to pay that money back. So that could be a good alternative for a lot of people who want to go into a different line of business, or it could be a great alternative for people who have been denied by the EIDL loan or the PPP loan. So think about that as well. It could be an option for us. No worries, Chris. Yeah, so D is reporting back, and he's saying that it has not showed up on his DUNS credit report. That's his business credit report, so it's not there. So if anyone does in the future see this video and it does get reported, please comment back on this video in the future. All right, so let me tackle a few more questions while I wait for some other people to join us today. Now, we are a little bit early. I started early today on purpose because like a week and a half ago or 2 weeks when we did our last one, I had some technical difficulties and I started 15-20 minutes late. But today I got my act straight, so thank you for everyone who was on this video early, on this video on time. All right, so Sauce Witherspoon. Sauce is asking, aside from the EIDL loan and the PPP loans, are there any grants you don't have to pay back available to sign up for in regards to the COVID-19? As of this moment, Sauce, there aren't too many options for entrepreneurs right now as far as grants go. If there are, on the local level, on your state level, there are grants. Like in New Jersey, we had this one grant that was floating around, but the money for that went the first day, like immediately. So you have to also look within your own chamber of commerce, within your state, within your city, and see if there's any news of there being any grants available. But remember, if there are going to be any grants or there's going to be future grants available, that'll probably come as part of the next stimulus plan. You have to be ready. I mean, you have to, like, almost the way that people stand outside of the Apple store when a new Apple phone comes out, you literally have to be waiting to submit your application like ahead of time. So be sure of that. If you can't apply for the EIDL loan or the PPP loan for whatever reason, look out for those loans. But there will be more money in the future funded for the EIDL loan through the next stimulus package, most likely. That's what I'm hearing, but we'll see about that in the future. All right, next question. D says, county property taxes I paid in March 6, 2020 and put on my personal credit card due to tenants not paying rent. So I guess you're in the real estate business, D? Okay, can be paid by the EIDL loan. So what you're asking is, can you pay the debt that you have on your credit card through the EIDL loan? I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I'm hearing from a lot of different CPAs. I'm hearing from a lot of different accountants and professionals that they're not going to be splitting hairs on what you spent the money on. What they care more about is that you're not totally reckless. As long as it's expenses that are directly tied to the business, but not in a capacity where you're expanding your business or you're relocating, because remember, there are some things in which they strictly prohibit. So I think what we need to be more focused on is the few items that they strictly say, no, you cannot do these things, but you know, these are 100% against what we allow this money for. But if you find other things that your business can spend the money on that doesn't fall into those categories, then you should be okay. All right. Now, I'm not telling you go ahead and spend it on that stuff or use it for that such, because I'm just letting you know what I've been hearing from other people. Make sure you always follow up with the SBA and get that answer yourself. You can email them. They'll email you back and give you a response, or you can check with your CPA. But if I was in your position and I needed it for my business to survive and I couldn't, it wasn't falling in under the parameters of the things they disallowed, then I most likely would do it, and I'd be very cautious about paying that back as soon as possible. So that's what I would do, D. Another thing, guys, I want to talk to you about today, and I know we're just getting started right now. It's 12:01. There is a functionality here on this live video training today. They're called super chats, and they're called super stickers, I believe. They're right underneath where you type in the information for your question. If anyone wants to contribute to the super chat or the super stickers today, any money that's raised through this live, I'm going to donate directly to the hungry families that we're raising money for locally here in the United States. And I'll be matching any money that you guys contribute to it. So whatever it is, whatever we raise today, whether it's $100, $1,000, whatever it is, I'll be matching that. So if you guys feel generous enough to at least give something, give anything that's in your heart, I would appreciate that. All right, let's talk about the next question. How long does it take for the portal, email, and acceptance to docs and received? Okay, so I guess Lewis Murray is asking, how long does the process take? Lewis, can you please let us know what step you're in right now? I'm not sure where you are. It says here that okay, so basically for myself, it was like this. I'm going to explain to you. I applied very early in April. I got approved. I got approved in May, the beginning of May, and by the middle of May, I had my money in the account. So for me, it took roughly about, I would say 30 days before I received my first email to set up my portal and accept how much money I wanted. And then I got another maybe week and a half to 2 weeks, I got an email asking me to sign documentation. After I signed that documentation, about a week later, the money was in my account. Now I have a partner who works with me who actually signed up the same day, but their process took longer, and it took them about 2 weeks later after I received my money for them to receive their money. So hopefully that helps, but I have heard stories about people getting it within days. So it just depends, I guess, on the where your application may fall. All right, so let me move on to the next question. Sauce is asking, if you have more than one sole proprietor business and have gotten approved for your application from one, can you still apply and be approved for a second business? It's so funny you're asking that, Sauce, because I just read a comment yesterday from a viewer who said that he's been approved for 2 of his businesses at 150 grand a piece. So I'm not sure if that's 100% legal, or maybe it was just something that flew under the radar. But hey, listen, if you got it twice and you keep up payments and you do everything you're supposed to do with that money, I don't see why you couldn't. They're the ones issuing these loans, so I think they should be the ones that have oversight over if they're making mistakes. So you can definitely apply for it twice if they approve you. Hey, God bless you. I'm not telling you if that's legal or not. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I do know that there's people who have gotten it multiple times. So good luck with that. All right, next question comes from Al. Al saying, what if the PPP and the EIDL loan? What if you get them both? What if you get the PPP and the EIDL loan? How does that work? Which one is forgiven? Okay, so great question. So if you get the grant, right? If you get the $10,000 grant, that money is deducted from the PPP loan you're going to get later on. So if you were going to get a $100,000 PPP loan and you got a $10,000 grant, you're going to get 90. That's what you're going to get. They're going to deduct it from any future loans. And if you use that $10,000 for a payroll, then that payroll also comes down from the requirement that the PPP is going to make you do later. Now, you can have both the PPP and the EIDL loan at the same time, but you cannot use it for the same expense. If you use the EIDL loan for payroll first, the loan part, not the grant part, if you use it for payroll, if you get the PPP later, you have to take PPP funds to pay back the portion of the EIDL loan that you used the money on for payroll. All right, hopefully I didn't lose you on that. So yes, you can have them both. You just can't use it for the same expense. So I hopefully answered your question with that, Al. Okay, MKRB is asking, is there a time limit to spend the loan? There is not a time limit for the EIDL loan. For the PPP loan, there is. They just expanded that to 24 weeks in order for you to have to use that on payroll. So the PPP loan you do, the EIDL loan you do not. You can spend that money in one day. You can spend it over the course of the next 30 years. That's totally up to you. All right, Lewis is saying, I accepted the loan, waiting for the loan documents. Okay, so if you accepted the loan, you'll probably get the loan documents any day now. It should be pretty quickly from there. Trigger Beats is saying, with EIDL, can rent, expense, utilities, work from home, and rent apartment? So I guess, Trigger, what you're asking is, can you use the EIDL loan for rent expenses and utilities if you work from home? You're going to have to get the blessing from your accountant on that one, because technically no, because you live there. The only exception is if you were to have your house or your apartment that you rented, and previously before this you had done this in order for you to be able to offset some of the expense of your household. If you previously gave yourself a lease and that lease said that your rent was $500 for using 500 square feet of your house or your apartment for the business, and that included the utilities as well, then that portion of it you can use on the EIDL loan. If not, you're gonna have to pay yourself with the EIDL loan, and then once you get paid with that money, you can go ahead and then pay off any expenses you want, such as your rent, your car, anything personal that's not business related. You can go ahead and pay for that later on. All right, so next question we have here is from Sauce again. Sauce says, EIDL loan and the PUA unemployment, does that work? Yes, I was told by them that you can have the PUA, which is the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, unemployment insurance, right? You can have that, and the EIDL loan. You can have them both at the same time. You just can't pay yourself with the EIDL loan and still claim the PUA. So if you're not using it to pay yourself, you can still use the PUA. So great question. Chuck Stacy is asking, can the $1,000 grant get, so you got the $1,000 grant, and then you got $7,500 from the PPP, the grant, so $6,500. Okay, so you got $6,500 as from the PPP. Oh, I'm confused. Then you got the $24,000 from the EIDL loan. Rumors are that we will get the additional $9,000. Is that true? Thanks for what you do. Okay. There is a pending lawsuit. I think about 32 people filed a class action lawsuit against the SBA because the CARES Act originally explained that we're supposed to get $10,000 grant just for applying, whether we get the loan or we don't get the loan. That's the way that the CARES Act actually reads. And there's a pending lawsuit right now, so hey, maybe 6 months from now or a year from now, we might all just get the extra $9,000 that we didn't receive, or the difference between the $10,000 and whatever we did get. So that's still to be discovered. We don't know. We do know one thing is that the SBA was tapped out of that money pretty quickly. So we still don't know if that's going to come around. So Chuck, I hope I answered your question correctly with that. So M. Kirby is asking, can we pay the car loan, gas, car insurance, oil changes, etc.? I'm an Uber driver. If all of these expenses are for your Uber business, then yes, most likely you can use the money for those things. Remember, the SBA, under the guidelines they have for it, really just cover a few limited things what you can do with the money, but they're so vague that a lot of people are very confused because of their vagueness. But what I was mentioning earlier is try to stay away from the things they disallow more than trying to split hairs about the things you can do. So I've heard Uber drivers even getting the green light to put down payments on cars, which is not supposed to be something you can do, but since it's your business, then I think you can do that. Okay, next question comes from D. How about paying 1099 general contractors for maintenance in a residential rental? Okay, so you're using, you would use the EIDL loan money to pay a contractor maybe to fix a leaky toilet or whatever the case may be for the business. Now see, this is the thing that you got to remember. Every business is going to be different. It's going to have different types of moving parts. So if your business is property management or rentals, whatever the case your business is, your day-to-day expenses may be different than a guy who repairs laptops. Your day-to-day business may be different from a guy who sells cars. So if your day-to-day expenses, or what are called working capital expenses, are in line and you're not pulling in weird things that you never used to pay for before, I do think you'll be able to make a good argument to the SBA that this was necessary to be expensed on. Just be prepared to make that argument if you ever get audited. Now, like I mentioned in my previous videos, I have spoken to my accountant, and my accountant has told me that it's impossible to police these loans and audit all of these loans because they've given so many of them out, and there's going to be a lot of them that are not going to get repaid. So most likely the ones that are going to get the attention and the audits are the ones that are going to default. So I wouldn't go too crazy about like what you can and can't do as long as they're normal expenses for your business. But definitely check with your accountant, check with your CPAs, and check with the SBA if you're in doubt of any of that. So thank you for that question, D. D, are you in real estate? What kind of real estate do you do? Are you an investor or a property manager? Let us know. All right, next question comes from Jim Farrow. Can the EIDL loan cover credit cards, maybe just 2020 charges? Yeah, so what the original wording and what you can find in your loan agreement states that any expense after, I believe it was January 31st, it can be used. It was either January, yeah, I think it was January 31st. Any expense after January 31st can be expensed through any bill that you received after January 31st can be expensed through the EIDL loan. So if most of those charges came after that day, you should have no problem with that, Jim. Oh, Chuck, I missed one of yours. I'm sorry, brother. No, I think I covered yours, Chuck. I think your question was you got the $1,000 grant, and then you also got a PPP loan, and then the grant. So you got deducted down to 6,500. Then you got a $24,000 EIDL loan. Rumors are that we will get the additional 9K grant. I answered your question, Chuck. We don't know if we're going to get that additional 9K yet. That's still to be heard in court. Pauline is asking, would I save on interest if I paid the loan off early? Well, absolutely you would, because remember, this loan, this EIDL loan, is set up exactly like a mortgage. So all the payments that are in the beginning are going to be very interest heavy. So most of the interest first payments are just going to go to interest. And remember, the way it's set up is that the first 12 months you have no payments. So all of that interest that you missed the first 12 months, that has to get paid back first. So when you look at your statements, you may have absolutely no principal go towards your loan for the first year when you start repaying that money. So it's going to be very advantageous for all of us to pay back these EIDL loans as soon as possible. Okay, Michael is asking, what if any docs did you have to provide in the SBA before the EIDL loan got funded? Okay, I don't know about everyone else, but when I applied for my EIDL loan, I provided them with my tax returns. I provided them with my profit and loss, 4506, the other documents that they requested, the applications they requested. So I pretty much uploaded everything when they first asked for it. Now, I don't know if everyone did that because it seemed to me like it was a bit tedious. But I'd love to hear from you guys if you guys got the loan without updating or uploading your tax returns. Let us know about that. All right, next question. Next question comes from Michael Kraft. What if any docs did? Okay, that was already answered. Sorry. Wait, we were supposed to get the free extra 1,000 if we got approved for the loan. Yes, if you got approved for the loan, Sauce. If you got the loan, then what I've been hearing is that people have been receiving the grant along with it. Hold on a second, guys. Let me turn off my air conditioner. Just kicked in right now. That's the beauty of the live video. Okay, that'll be shutting off in a second. Okay, so D is a real estate investor. He has 18 doors, residential rentals, and I have been a part of the FIRE movement before it's a word. What is the FIRE movement? Okay, so Jay Lack is also chiming in. He's saying he got the EIDL loan today. Congratulations on that. He plans on opening a separate account today for it. Very good move. And use it strictly for offset payroll and myself for a slowdown. That's a very good move. He's a sole proprietor and he wants to use for bills after he gets paid. Yeah, you can use it for bills after you're done paying yourself. Bills are 100% acceptable. Utilities, you can use it for rent. You can use it for mortgage on your property if you have a mortgage on your business where you work at. Okay, next question is coming from Trigger Beats. Can we pay for daily services, Fiverr, content, okay, software? I'm already paying those on an ongoing basis. Okay, Trigger, you can use it for working capital. So however you can define working capital, if you look it up on Google, whatever working capital makes sense to you in your head and it was something you were using before on a normal basis for your normal business, you should be able to justify that if you ever get audited. Remember, as I keep telling you guys, don't go into a different line of work. Don't try to get cute and expand with their money. You can expand, but not with their money. Use their funds for a rainy day on expenses you normally would have spent it on, okay? Hopefully that answers your question. Next question is coming from Asia Khan. She says, hi, I signed closing documents 10 days back, but have not gotten the funds. Okay. Asia, you should probably be receiving it any day, hopefully. But I have heard a nightmare story from a lady who says that she signed documents a long time ago, over 30 days ago, and she hasn't gotten the money. She keeps calling the SBA, and they keep giving her different stories. And they went as far as telling her that if she signed the documents, she's responsible for making the payment on it, even though she may never get the money. So I think that obviously somebody gave her some really bad information on that last comment that I just made. But if I were you, I'd be calling the SBA for an update. So even if you have to wait on hold for 30 minutes, make sure you call real early in the day. I think they open at 8 or 8:30. Call really early and see if you can get someone on the phone. Okay, so Al says he actually got the EIDL loan without uploading any documents. So that's a really good point that Al is making, because I know a lot of us are frustrated because we're splitting hairs or have to be very careful on what we spend this money on, even though we have to pay it back with interest. So I understand the frustration with that. But Al just made it very clear that he literally got funded for this loan by just filling out an application. So it's as easy money comes. So I know if it's that easy, it is going to come with some restrictions and some hoops that we may have to jump through. But just hopefully that makes you guys feel a little bit better about this whole mess. Next question comes from Deborah. Deborah is saying, I got approved and I did provide my tax returns with the application. Lewis F is saying just signed docs and only provided his I don't know what it says. He got cut off. Okay. Yeah, that is a pretty serious HVAC system. Unfortunately, I'm right next to the return, so that's pretty loud. Okay, so Sauce Witherspoon is saying, let me turn off my AC. Pulls out phone. Yeah, I know. That's how I do it. That Nest, if you guys don't have Nest for your house, it's pretty cool. You can control it from anywhere. Okay, so Trigger says he got approved just by showing his bank statements and showing his business name. Didn't need any tax returns. Deborah is saying, I thought the $10K advance was not expected to be repaid. It is not expected to be repaid, Deborah. It's confusing, and now they are saying that if you get the $10K advance and the PPP money, then they will reduce the forgiveness part by $10K advance. Yes, that is correct, Deborah. So if you do get that $10K advance, you do get that reduced from your PPP loan. And if you use that $10K for strictly payroll, then that also gets reduced from your forgiveness portion. So hopefully that does help you. Lewis is saying he provided his 1099s for 2009 only. Well, that's good. And that's how he got his EIDL loan. And Jay Lack says, thank you, and I have not received the $1,000 grant. Okay, Jay Lack, you haven't received the $1,000 grant, but at times it does come with the loan. So if you get the loan, you may see your loan for, if your loan was for $100,000, you might see your loan come in for $101,000. So you might get it when you get the loan. Tracy is saying, good morning, thank you for your video. Just subscribe. Thank you, Tracy, appreciate that. And guys, if you're watching this right now and you haven't subscribed to our community, please consider doing that. This is a 100% business-oriented, business-minded channel. So anything that has to do with business, we will be covering. If you guys have any suggestions for any future videos on any topic whatsoever, I've gotten great ideas such as what's better to form an LLC or an S-Corp. We're working on videos like that, working on videos on how to name your business. You know, it's not just picking a name. You have to make sure that the URL is available. The Facebook, it doesn't already have it saturated, has not, the business name hasn't been taken. So there's a lot of steps in which you have to take to make sure that you can name your business properly. So let us know of any topics that you have ideas on that you would like us to create. Not only that, but we also want to invite you to check out our website that we just updated recently. On our website, you can find awesome gear such as this t-shirt that I'm wearing, the Culture Estate t-shirt. We have Culture Estate gear. We have book recommendations for entrepreneurs that you guys will love, absolutely love, stuff that I've read in the past and has completely changed my life. If you guys want to sign up also for coaching, we have that available. And we also have real estate courses if you want to be an investor or if you want to get into real estate sales. We have courses on there that I heavily discounted now that I revamped my website, and we're updating videos to those courses every month. So there's a lot of great stuff in there for you guys to check out. So thank you all for being here today. I'll continue now with your questions. Okay. Let's see. Question from Catan Court. I did receive both the grant and the loan, and I never applied for the loan. Oh, look at that. It was just offered. I thought I was going to get the grant alone for the 10K, and I filled out online, uploaded. Oh, no uploads necessary. Wow. Doesn't get much easier than that. All right, D is saying, I look at receiving the EIDL loan as a blessing to build business credit. I have been doing the flip and fix, setting up all my houses, so no credit needed. So yeah, God bless on that, D. That's awesome. Asia is saying, they offer me $34,000, but I accepted $25,000. Okay, good move. I have a rental building and I don't want trouble when I refinance. Did they really put a lien or a soft UCC lien? The UCC lien is against your business. I don't believe it's against your building, your property. The reason why I don't believe it's against your property is because you would have it would have been outlined on your loan agreement. The address of your property should have been outlined specifically on there as collateral. If it's not outlined specifically, it's most likely not on your building. It's most likely just on your business. But if you do sell that building down the road, you're obligated to let the SBA know, and they may in fact ask you to pay a portion of that back or the entire amount back. So keep that in mind, Asia. Sauce is saying, are you a CPA? How much? No, I am not a CPA. If you want to get in touch with my CPA, guys, I can definitely hook you up with him. He handles clients all over the United States, so he's really good with that, and he's a really down-to-earth guy. He takes calls pretty much anytime, and he always answers his phone. Daniel is asking, or Danielle, I'm not sure if it's Danielle or Daniel, sorry about that. I am a self-employed and work by myself. I can hire someone right now and buy him from the loan? Thanks. Okay, so what Danielle is asking is, can you hire a new employee? You can only hire a new employee. Remember, because this is going to fall into the expansion part of it. If you hire more employees, that's considering expanding your business. You can hire a new employee if you had an employee before and you lost that employee. If you hire one back, that's an expansion. That's just bringing your business back to the level it was before. But if you are going to hire someone completely new and you thought you were going to do it with the EIDL loan money, you're kind of falling into those parameters where they're telling you of things you can't do with the money. So before I paid others, I'd probably pay myself with that money. So be very careful with that, Danielle, and thank you for that question. D is asking, do I use QuickBooks in my day-to-day accounting? So D, one of the things that I absolutely cannot stand is I cannot stand doing record keeping, even though I've done it for a long time. So my operations manager, who also is my partner on a lot of the businesses that I work on, she actually does all our QuickBooks stuff for our rental properties and for our business. And then our CPA actually just reviews our QuickBooks files either at the end of the year or on a monthly basis. So if you guys have any business related questions outside of the EIDL loan too, feel free to ask those, because that's why we're here. If we get enough people to attend these live trainings, we can do one a week or one every 2 weeks, and I can answer any business related questions whatsoever. That's what we're doing here, guys. We're creating a community, so feel free to ask me anything. And if I don't know the answer, like I've told you before, I will find out the answer and get back to you. All right, next question comes from Deborah. She's debating on whether to accept the EIDL loan. She has 2 locations. There's a strong possibility that I will sell one of the locations. Will the EIDL loan and the PPP funds complicate the sale? Yes, it could complicate the sale, because part of the parameters around the loan for the EIDL loan is that if you downsize your business or sell any parts of your business off, you have to let the SBA know, and it's up to them what they choose to do. So it could very well complicate your situation. Now, if you were at a location before and you had an office, or you had let's say, I don't know, let's call it, you had a advertising firm and you worked out of a location, but now your whole company is working remotely, you should let the SBA know that if you originally applied under that location, that everyone's working remotely. I highly doubt that they're going to tell you that you got to pay the money back, but it's always good to make sure you do the right thing. So thank you for that question. And Deborah has 2 restaurants. God bless you, Deborah. Where are you located, Deborah? Let us know. Hopefully, if anyone's in your state or in your area, they can come and support you. Let us know if you're doing any, what phase your state is in, if you guys are able to even open up for seating, or if you're doing outdoor seating only. D, yes, our CPA will most likely be able to help you if you're out of Ohio. Okay, next question comes from Cabinson. He or she is asking, I accept the loan offer on June 5th. How long the SBA will before they approve the loan? I've answered this question a few times, so I'll just make it quick for those who are still on the feed. It could take a few days or it could take a few weeks. It just depends on where you fall in line. So just be patient. 99% of the people who I know who have accepted the terms get funded. So just be patient. It should be in your bank account any day now. All right, next question is coming from RS. He is asking, or he or she is asking, I got $47,000 and agreed to this amount, but haven't signed yet. Is there a way to change it under $25,000? Will they allow me? Yes, you can change it to $25,000. And I've explained this before. You can't just accept the $47,000 and then send back the difference, because that's not going to change your original note. You have to call in and speak with a loan officer. And then let them know that you want them to redraft a new note for $25,000. Okay, so yes, you can. Next question comes from Cover Bias, Yvonne, I would assume. Okay, that's the name. If you were deposited the 1K, or okay, if you have the 1K deposit into your bank account, I guess what you're saying, and then do not accept the loan offer, do you have to pay back the 1K? No, you don't. That is a grant. So whether you take the loan or you don't get approved for the loan, the part that you get as a grant is yours. So use that for business-related expenses and don't worry about paying it back. J Lack is saying deposited, no grant money. Side question, once I pay myself, can I use the money to pay taxes? Okay, so I read on a CPA's website the other day that you cannot pay for any federal debt except for taxes. So I've been told by the SBA when I call them that you cannot use it to pay back your 2019 taxes or your taxes, whatever the case may be. But in a lot of other publications and from a lot of other people, I have been hearing that you can pay your EIDL loan. I'm sorry, you can pay your taxes, your federal taxes, with the EIDL loan money. So I would definitely talk to this SBA on this and do some more independent research on that. I will try to get more clarification myself, but I am leaning towards the side of you being able to pay for it. I have been hearing from a lot of reputable publications that you can. So I'm going to do some more research on that. If I have time this week, I'll call the SBA again and see if I can speak to a level 2 and get a better answer on that. Okay, so Deborah is saying she just, they're in Palo Alto. Beautiful, nice. And you have one in Santa Cruz as well. So if anyone's out there in California, hopefully I got my geography right. Go out there and see Deborah's restaurant. Let us know the name of your restaurant, Deb. Okay, and you just reopened for a limited seating of Vino Local. Vino Local, it sounds delicious. If I'm ever in your area, I'll check you out. D is saying it only took 3 days for him. So yeah, for some people it only takes a little bit of time. Asia is now saying the loan officer called her back after 34. Oh, I'm sorry. The loan officer called you and offered you 34, and you told them that the offer was 25. So technically, I didn't lower my offer. Okay, I'm a little confused on that, Asia. So the loan officer called you and offered you 34,000, and you told her to offer you 25,000. So technically, you didn't lower my offer. I think you're going to get a note that says 25,000. So I think you're going to be good, Asia. Just make sure that that's what that says in your note. Trigger Beats is saying just received it 10 minutes ago, decided to check. What did you receive, Trigger Beats? You received the money? Let us know. D is saying I took your advice and opened an EIDL loan funds account. Good idea on that. That you should definitely not commingle the money with your own money, because remember, guys, money is fungible. So you don't know if the $1,000 that's in there today and $1,000 is coming from the EIDL loan. You don't know which is which. You understand? So if you want to spend your own money on questionable stuff, keep it in a separate account. Okay. Next question, Antonio, on the contract from the EIDL loan. I was asked to submit a hazard insurance policy within 12 months. I don't have such policy. Please let me know if it affects my loan somehow. Great question, Antonio. So I actually did ask the SBA about this, and I have it. I was on one of my previous videos. So you only need hazard insurance if the collateral that you're putting up is a property, like a house, or if it's machinery, such as bulldozers and things like that. Anything that does require liability insurance, which you should probably already have, then you're good. If you don't have liability insurance because your business doesn't require it, then you don't need it. That's what the SBA told me. All right, thank you for that question, Antonio. Leo is saying, I got decline letter via email, but I have not received the grant. Any news regarding that? Leo, unfortunately, no. I would definitely kick and scream for the grant portion, because they literally told us in the CARES Act that whether we get accepted or denied for the loan, we should be receiving our $10,000 grant. Now, they changed that later to state that we would get $1,000 per employee. And since you are your own employee, if you're the only person in your business, you should at least get that $1,000 grant. So I would definitely kick and scream, call, ask to speak to a level 2 or a loan officer to see if you can at least get that grant, because we were promised that. D said, it took 4 days after the loan funding to get my grant. Beautiful. Emailed the loan officer and she said the grant department is different and they are running behind. So good news. That's good information that you're giving us, D. Thank you so much for that. Next question is from RS. Can I use the EIDL loan funds to pay my monthly collection I'm paying off from an old business credit card debt? If it's monthly obligations, monthly debt, structured loan, you can pay it down. You can't pay it off. If it's a small structured loan that's less than 12 months, then you can pay it all off. But the EIDL loan also requires that the expenses that are to be paid with it come after January 31st. So if the bills that come into you after January 31st come in through that debt, then you should be able to pay those off. But remember, just always double check with your CPA, guys. I'm just giving you my 2 cents and the way I look at things. Remember, like I've explained earlier in our previous videos, don't take this as advice, legal advice, or what you should do. I am just telling you what steps I would take if I was in your position. Always check with the SBA and your accountant first. RS, I'm sorry, I just answered your question. So Hova Mart is asking how to check the EIDL loan balance online. Okay, so I'm not sure if I understand you correctly, Hova. I think you're asking how can you check the EIDL loan balance online. I think you're trying to see the status online. I think that's what you might mean. If you've created the portal, you can always revert back to the portal to see what stage your loan might be in. So I think that's what you might be asking. Nice, Trigger. Trigger just received the funds as we were live on this video. That's amazing, brother. Good job. That's great news. Okay, Long Nguyen is saying, my wife works for him as an officer under the 1099. Could I use the EIDL loan to pay her? Yes, you can, as long as she provides services rendered. Okay, if she was W-2 before, then you can continue paying her W-2 now. But do not get carried away. Do not give her the whole amount as one lump sum. Make sure that it's compensation that you would pay someone else for the same job or the same work that she did. Okay, maybe get some invoices from her for work that she's done. Keep everything official and above board. James Hester is saying, I accepted the small EIDL. I'm currently a sole proprietor. If I switch over to a single member LLC, do you think I need the SBA's permission? I don't think you need permission if you don't change your EIN number. If you're going to change your EIN number, which you shouldn't be able to anyway because you only get one EIN number per business, I think you should be okay. What I would do is just to cover your tracks and cover yourself, send an email to the SBA, which is available on their website. You can find it very easily. I'll leave it down below in the description section for any playbacks. But what you can do is you can email them and just let them know what you're doing. Now, if you were going from a LLC to an S Corp or an S Corp to an LLC, that I think would be a little bit more important. But if you're a sole proprietor now and you're formalizing yourself to be an LLC, you should be okay. You should be good there. Leo is asking or stating, I called a couple of times, talked to level 2 people. Okay, so you spoke to someone on a level 2, and they told me to sit tight and they will send the money, but no date as of yet. Absolutely, Leo. You know what? God works in mysterious ways. I don't know your financial situation right now, but I'll tell you guys a quick story. There was a time in my life in which I was a W-2 loan officer. I was doing loans for a various amount of mortgage companies, and I filed my taxes one year, and I was supposed to receive a refund, but I paid it no mind because I was too busy in handling my day-to-day business. And what ended up happening is that my accountant had actually put down the wrong mailing address for my house. He had put down my business address instead of my home address. So I got refunded $11,000 to my business address, which I never received. Only 2 years later, when I was literally praying for money because I was so broke, this was around the time of the crash, I received an $11,000 check in the mail. Now, I'm a big believer in God, big believer in karma. So if you don't get that money right now, brother, I can guarantee you will receive it when you do receive it, because I trust good things will happen. When you do receive it, it'll be at a time in which you most need it. So be patient on that, and hopefully that helps you. All right, so Tiago is saying, I got my credit checked last week on Thursday, on June 4th. That's awesome. When do you think I will get the approval? Some people are stating that it's taking a few days. Some people, like myself, it took me a few weeks. So Tiago, I know that I can't give you an exact date on that, but someone just on this thread earlier said it took 3 days. So hopefully it doesn't take you that long. It doesn't take you long as it did me. I apologize. Okay, Sina Martin is saying just joining. May have already answered. Okay, don't worry about that, Sina. I received a $1,000 grant and an offer for a $10K loan. Can I still get the remaining balance of the grant? Sina, we talked about this a little bit earlier. So there's currently right now a class action lawsuit against the SBA to try to get everyone the balance of the $10,000 because that's what it states in the CARES Act. We don't know the answer to that yet. It could be months or years before we hear about a decision on that. But maybe we'll get some mailbox money a couple years from now. That would be awesome. George Castro is saying, you're a 1099. Can I pay myself? Yes, you can pay yourself for services rendered, George. Just don't get carried away. Don't overpay yourself. Okay, so I'm hearing from the SBA that you can pay yourself if you are giving services. Okay, so if you paid yourself W-2 before, you can do that now, no problem. Just always check with your CPA before you do anything. Joe W is saying, I received the EIDL loan and now want to pay it off. Do you know how to pay it back? Joe, all I did was type into Google where to send my SBA loan payment, and it literally came up. It gave you 3 options. You can mail it in, you can pay online, or I think there's a third option. They can draft it. I'm not 100% sure. Yes, Joe, so if that's what you want to do, you can pay it back early. Now, just because you pay it back early, I don't know if that means you're not going to owe some interest, because remember, the interest starts accruing from the day you sign your loan documents. You don't have any payments due for 12 months, but the interest starts accruing from day 1. So if you pay it off a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, whenever it is that you got your loan, you may still be on a hook for the interest for those months. Okay, just keep that in mind. Antonio is saying, my personal property is considered as collateral. I'm a sole proprietor. No, they've excluded personal properties and personal autos. So don't worry about that, Antonio. Asia is stating, the grant is $1,000 per employee or $10,000. I got $4,000 grant for 4 employees. Congratulations on that, Asia. Yes, that is correct. But originally, the CARES Act stated that no matter what amount of employees we had, we were entitled to a $10,000 grant from the SBA, whether we got the loan or we didn't get the loan, just for applying. That's the way that the CARES Act reads and has not been updated since then, and that's why they have a class action lawsuit going on right now. Next question, D. The Reddit forums are saying 30 days after the credit gets pulled before you get the portal invite. This was my experience also. Yes, that was pretty much my experience as well. Thank you, D. You're giving me a lot of great information today, so hopefully that helps the gentleman who asked that question earlier. RC Landscaping is asking, just joining as well. Might have already. Don't worry about it, guys. If I got to repeat myself, it's okay. Can I use the EIDL for existing credit card debt and to pay off existing business truck loan? Okay, credit card debt, your monthly payments, yes, you can use it for that. If you want to pay off your existing truck loan, you're not going to be able to pay off any fixed debt, okay? So you can't pay it off, but you can pay it down. So every month that you get the note, or whatever payment is, you can use the EIDL loan money to pay for that, all right? So the only thing you can't pay off is you can't pay off mortgages with it, you can't pay off your car loan with it, but you can pay it down on a monthly basis as your bill comes in for that. So hopefully that helps you, RC. RC is also stating, makes no sense how you can use it to pay down your car loan, but not in full. So I can pay it down 70%. No, I don't mean you can pay it down by percentage. I mean you can pay it monthly. So whatever bill you get, if it's $300 a month for your note, you pay $300 with it. You can use it for that. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's your business car loan or if it's your personal car loan. You can't use it for that. If it's your personal car loan, you have to pay yourself first, and then with the money that you get from the loan, from the money you get paid, then you can pay down your personal car if you want with that. No problem, RC. Thank you for joining us. Okay, I'm going to wait for a couple more questions to come in. And in the meantime, I'm going to let you remember, I want to let you guys know that if you're just joining us, there are some features on this live session, this live seminar or webinar. And if you're watching this as a replay later on, you can still participate. You have stickers at the bottom, and you also have a thing called a super chat at the bottom where you actually type in your message. If anyone donates any money today, which is going to go all to feeding hungry families across America, no matter what amount you donate, we will match it 100%. So whatever we raise on this live session, is definitely going to a good place. Also, if you want to learn more about my organization and what we do, you can always go to our website, culture.estate. On there, you can find out what the best books are for entrepreneurs. You can set up coaching sessions with me, or you can go there and just buy some Culture Estate apparel, which is pretty much all I wear. So if you guys are curious to find out where I get my gear, you can actually look in there and help yourselves, guys. It would mean a lot to us. Thank you so much for that. Next question is coming from Eamon. Eamon is stating, if I pay myself $10.99 as payroll with the EIDL loan, can I then turn around and use the funds any way I want, purchase any investment property? Yeah, after it's been filtered through you as an employee, after you get paid with that money, you can do with it whatever you want. It's your money. They don't have any limitations on what you do with your personal income. They only have limitations on what you can disperse the EIDL loan money for. Okay? So if you get the green light from your CPA that it's okay to pay yourself for services rendered, then yes, you can then go ahead and pay anything you want after it's been filtered through you as an employee. Michelle is asking, so if you are confirmed for 11K, is the 10K a grant that you don't have to pay back? You will only get a 10K grant if it's stated that it's a grant. If you got an offer for $11,000, then you got an $11,000 loan. You're only going to get a 10K grant right now if you claim to have 10 employees or more. Okay, so hopefully that clears that up for you, Michelle. Antonio says, can I change the contract I already signed for more than $25,000? I don't need all the money, just need a loan under $25,000. I haven't heard anyone report back with a success story. Maybe someone watching this can chime in. I haven't heard anyone report back yet that they've lowered their loan successfully, but it doesn't mean you can't. But in order to be able to do that, you have to rework your note. So make sure you call and speak to a loan officer, or maybe if you can get an email to your loan officer, you can rework that note. Now, they may not prioritize you as they would prioritize new loans, so just keep that in mind. Next question is coming from RS. You said that as a 1099, you can pay yourself if you are doing work, but I need to pay myself because I haven't been able to work. Okay, so RS, you cannot use this, and thank you very much, Schaefer, for that donation you just gave. RS, so you cannot use this to supplement your income. But if you're doing work for your business, can you give us a little bit more, I think, RS, what kind of business you're in, and I'll give you maybe a better insight on what you're doing. So if you have a business, but you haven't been able to do business because of the pandemic, you can't just pay yourself unless you were a W-2 employee before, okay? Now, if you want to pay yourself, you have to actively be doing something for your business. So you might be going on job estimates, or you might be reworking your website. You might be working on marketing campaigns. Whatever it is that you're working on for your business to try to get more business, then that counts as work that you're doing for the business. So let's just say if you were a plumber and you had a plumbing company and you haven't been able to do any plumbing for anyone, right? You can't pay yourself for a plumbing job, but you might be able to pay yourself for marketing or door knocking or doing anything that you can do as a person who wants to get more business through the business. Okay, hopefully that answers your question. So as you can see on the screen right now for anyone who's watching, Schaefer, the tanker, thank you so much. I just donated for our fund that we're trying to raise money for. We're trying to raise money for hungry families. Last time we did one of these, we raised about $300 or so, and we were able to bless my church with a lot of food for hungry families. When I pulled up in my car and popped the trunk, they were astonished by how much food we brought in. I spent like 2 hours in the shopping at what was it, like, I forget what store I went to. It was either ShopRite or A&P. One of those stores I went to, and I completely racked up. I had about a cart and a half full of food, so that was awesome. Hopefully we could do that again. Broker TK is saying, where do I send EIDL loan monthly payments? I don't see anywhere on my loan documents where to send the payments. Okay, so broker, you don't have to worry about that for the next 12 months where you're going to send your payments to. But if you want to start sending payments now, like I explained earlier, I had no issues finding where to send the payments. All I had to do was literally, and I'm going to do that right now as I'm on this live stream with you to show you how simple it is. So all I did was type in EIDL loan payment. Where can I pay? Okay, I'm going to link it right here in the comments so you guys can have, here's one, I just found this one. You guys can make payments here. Or if you want to, I think there's another one here. Let me see. All right, let me take the next question and I'll look for this. Paul is saying, I have been informed any sort of maintenance work to keep at an even keel is okay. Okay, so maintenance, I've been told mixed answers on this. I've been told yes you can, I've been told no you can't. I think they care more about you completely violating the few things that they do not want you to do it on. So keep in mind, if you're doing it to keep your business afloat and you need to make sure that you are able to keep the business running, then maintenance, and if it means not doing the maintenance is going to take you out of business, I think you'll be okay, and I think you'll be able to justify that later on. Working capital is really what you want to focus around. If it's working capital and it keeps your business going and it keeps your business running with income coming in, I think you'll be okay with that. Okay, RS Occupational says, you've been therapy with kids. Absolutely, you have not been able to work because you have not been able to be around anyone's kids. So RS, I would say right now, you should be working on your marketing campaigns. You should be working on building your email list. You should be working on staying in touch with your clients as much as possible and putting together a business plan so you can pay yourself for these things, okay? So just be aware of that. Okay, Amin is asking, thank you for answering my last question. Will the EIDL loan show up on my credit? No, it will not. And will it take a hit on your DTI? Yes and no. So it will not show up on your credit report. It's a commercial loan, but you do have to report it on your debt to income. So your DTI, if you're applying for loans later on, you do have to make sure that you disclose that. And I'm pretty certain it'll show up anyway if you're using your business income to qualify for it. So yeah, it will affect your DTI. Paul is asking, just tuned in, on rental units, if we use the funds to prep units for rental, is that okay? We had a leaky pipe and needed to repair some drywall and replace the pipe, hire cleaners, etc. Is that okay? Paul, again, I will reiterate that you can use it for working capital, and if these are normal expenses that your business normally had pre-pandemic and they're happening now, and you need this to keep your business going, you should be fine. Just double check with your CPA. If I was in your position, I would probably use it for that. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. RC Landscaping says, was just gonna ask same thing. Okay, will it show up on your credit report? No, it will not. Even though they do check your Experian credit and agency for your credit score when they do give you this loan, but they do not report to your credit. All right, next question. Are the funds able to be used to pay a line of credit? Yes, you can pay the line of credit. You can pay the monthly payments. You can't pay it off, refinance it, and you can't pay a chunk at it. You can only pay the monthly obligation on that. D was informed an upgrade to a rental property is disallowed. Yes, D, I heard the same exact thing. I heard an upgrade to a property is disallowed. Now, you can always argue this, that is not an upgrade. that it's maintenance. So for instance, if you have a 3-bedroom apartment rental and you want to put an addition on the apartment so you can get more money for it, I think that would constitute an upgrade. But if you have to maintain the property in order for it to be rentable, I think that you'll be okay with that. D seems to know a lot about this, so D, maybe you can chime in on this too. But I would definitely get the SBA's blessing on that, and if it's normal working capital, normal working expense, then you should be okay. Tiger Beats is saying the secondary bank account was transferred to. Can it be regular checking account so you can keep track of it? Yes, you can have a regular checking account. Someone actually even asked me the other day, can you put it into a investment account? And my answer to that was, I didn't really know what to say to him, but I said to him, look, if it's a because some trading accounts actually have like normal cash accounts within them. If it's able to be liquidated and it holds the same functionality as a checking account, then you should be able to have it there. But I don't know the purpose in having it there if your intentions weren't to invest it. So I'd probably stay away from doing that. That's one of the restrictions that I think I would tell you guys. Okay, RC Landscaping, can I pay more than the minimum for my credit cards? In other words, just to keep my debts manageable. Great question. I never thought about that, because if you're making your minimum payments, the majority of that is only interest. So I would say if you don't heavily overpay them, I think you will probably be okay with that if you just pay them all off in one chunk. You know what? I take that back. I apologize, RC Landscaping. I think that the problem with paying off debts are any long-term debts. So any debt that's considered long-term, such as a mortgage or a vehicle loan, that's long-term debt. Credit cards are revolving debt. So if you've got a $3,000 credit card bill and you got a $10,000 loan, you should be able technically to pay off that credit card in full, okay? Now remember, it's meant to be spent on expenses that were accrued after January 31st. So if half of the expenses on your credit card were accrued after January 31st, then for sure you could pay off that half. The other half you would probably want to ask your accountant about, or the CPA. All right, next question is coming from RC. No, I'm sorry, I answered that one. D is saying, can add that only. The hard pull showed up on my Experian and no DTI added. Okay, yeah, so the DTI is not going to show up on your credit report, but if you apply for loans, you will have to disclose that to a loan officer. For those of you who are watching and don't know what DTI means, that's your debt to income ratio. When you apply for loans, they want to make sure that you're not overly extended, and that means that having too many expenses every month, that's a debt to income ratio. Asia is saying thank you for your help in this tough time. No problem, Asia. And listen, I'm praying for all of you guys. D is saying yes, only maintenance expenses is okay. Just be careful how you word it. Absolutely. Yeah, don't get creative, guys. Okay. Rocky is asking, I work for a rideshare and deferred my car loan for 3 months. I just got the EIDL loan. Can I pay my car loan? You can definitely pay off those 3 months that you deferred. That's for sure, because those were payments. As far as paying off your car, I don't think you can. That's considered long-term debt. But I have heard that the SBA has given some Uber and Lyft drivers permission to pay off their long-term debt because they're Uber drivers. I don't believe that. I think that it would probably be okay to pay off those 3 months you haven't paid. George is asking, can I pay my business credit cards? Yes, George, you can pay your business credit cards. You can pay the monthly payment on those. You can pay them off if you like. Just remember, if the majority of that debt came from before January 31st, you're going to want to ask your accountant or the SBA if you can pay that portion off. RC Landscaping is saying, good question, Rocky. I would assume that's debt incurred due to the pandemic, so I think it should be okay. Javier Melendez is jumping in. He's saying, Uber drivers can pay my car monthly payment with the EIDL loan. Yes, you can. And I'm sorry, guys. I don't think I've ever in my life said EIDL loan so many times within the last few months. It's starting to become a tongue twister, so I apologize if I trip over my own words. All right, Rocky, thanks, RC, but how much can I pay? The SBA just doesn't want us to profit or expand from this pandemic. Absolutely. That you couldn't put that any better, D. So if you keep that in mind, when you spend, you should be safe. Yes, be very, very conservative, guys. This is not to enrich ourselves or expand our business or get into a new line of business. RC is saying, I would assume whatever the incurred debt would be during these months. Yes, correct. That is correct, RC Landscape. They're discussing credit cards. Rocky, thank you, everyone. Aloha. Are you in Hawaii by any chance, Rocky? That's awesome. Maybe you could post a picture on here. No, I don't think you can. Deborah is chiming back in. She said, I'd like to pay off credit card debt with the EIDL loan. It's a lower interest rate. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I would do the same thing. As long as I make my EIDL loan payments and don't get audited, will it matter if the credit card debt was prior to 2020? Hey, listen, I'm not giving you advice, guys. Remember, I'm just telling you what I would do. There's an expression that states it's only illegal if you get caught. And I'm not telling you to do anything that's illegal. But if your intentions are to pay this money back as soon as humanly possible, and you pay off your credit cards, and it so happens that half that debt was before January 31st, you're going to have to really explain yourself if you ever get audited. Talk to your CPA, talk to your accountant, and see if it's okay to do that. With their blessing, I would, if I was in your position, I would absolutely pay them off, because we're talking 24% interest as opposed to 3.5% interest. That's a big difference. 3.75% interest. That's humongous difference. We're talking about thousands of dollars you'll be saving in just interest payments alone. So just keep in mind, pay them off as soon as possible so you can even beat the interest even better. All right. Trigger is saying, how would you word maintenance? Okay. Trigger. What Trigger's asking is, how would you word maintenance as opposed to an improvement? So maintenance, and remember, these are classifications that accountants do all the time on your tax returns. Capital improvements versus maintenance. So maintenance would be something that's a routine repair, like a leaky faucet, a broken handrail, a broken window, something that needs to be done in order to maintain its livability. If you want to improve something where it's going to bring you more money, then that would be considered an expansion. So hopefully that sheds some light, and that's just my interpretation on it. RC Landscaping saying, but with the DIR, I'm not sure what DIR is, if it's a business expense and you can prove you are paying it from your business account, technically most underwriters won't count it as bad debt. Yeah, absolutely. I think you might mean DTI. Yeah, DTI, as long as it carries itself, there's not a big deal. Like, for instance, if you have a $2,000 mortgage payment on an investment property and it brings you $3,000 a month, then you have positive cash flow. So you should be okay. I think that's what you mean. Thank you so much, Sina. I appreciate the comment. We appreciate you being on this Q&A. Okay, Rocky is in the big island of Hawaii. Hopefully one day I will make it back out there, Rocky. I'll send you a message. Thank you for chiming in today, brother. Appreciate that. Antonio, as a sole proprietor, I don't have a collateral since I give services, but I included my car on my taxes for depreciation. Can I use my car as the collateral? Antonio, if you haven't gotten a loan yet, chances are you're not going to get it right now. I'm not telling you not to apply, but they're only looking at people with farms and they're only looking at people with agricultural businesses, okay? But it's not to say that they're not going to come back after the next stimulus bill to give us a new lifeline. So if you already have your EIDL loan, then your car is definitely collateral. D's chiming back in and stating maintenance expenses in QuickBooks. Okay, yeah, so whatever your QuickBooks expenses are under maintenance, that's maintenance. George Castro, my office is in my house. Can I pay my mortgage? No, George, you cannot pay your mortgage with it. You can only pay yourself and then you can pay the mortgage. You have to give them services rendered. Or if you had a lease for the part of the home in which you use for business, if you had a lease, then you can make those lease payments with the money. No problem, Karen. Thank you. I appreciate you watching and you have a great day as well. Deborah, thank you as well. Sina, I will watch the replay also. Thank you so much and share this with a friend, guys. Let's get everybody who needs this information to learn from each other. Yeah, like I said, I don't know everything. Dee's been a really good help here, so thank you, Dee, for chiming in and helping me with the answers. Dee is also stating that if you file a Schedule E, it is a line item on the Schedule E. Rocky, thank you. No problem. Thank you, Rocky. Got Mop Top is saying, how do we start paying back the loan now? I will leave a link again on here. There's a link here where you can go and you'll find ways to pay it back. Okay, a question here from Harpreet. Harpreet, I apologize, Harpreet. You have as a trucking business. Harpreet has a trucking business. Can you use the EIDL loan money for diesel? You can use the EIDL loan money for diesel only if it's regular business expenses. If that's part of your working capital, you should be able to use it for that. Remember, if you ever get audited, you want to make sure that you can explain to them that it's not for expansion. It's not for anything they disallow. It's for normal working capital purposes. Talk to your accountant before just to get their blessing on that, because I'm just telling you what I would do. I'm not explaining to you what you should do. Yes, RC Landscape, I figured that's what you meant, is debt to income ratio, your DTI. Okay, yes, and then that would be considered a good debt if it's against your business, if your business has positive cash flow. Okay, Kavara Bias is asking, or I should just call you Yvonne. I was approved for $44,000 but I would rather do less than $25,000. I understand they will not use any collateral if we take the loan over $25,000. This loan is for a 30-year term. Can you pay the term early? Yes, you can pay the term back anytime you want. You don't have to keep it for the entire 30 years, and there is no prepayment. Thank you, Antonio. Guys, I'm going to start wrapping it up pretty soon. We're approaching about an hour and 15 minutes. So if you have any last questions, final questions, throw them on here. I'm going to answer the next one. RC Landscape is saying they don't ask me for any collateral info that I can remember. I'm assuming they infer whatever assets you may have. Yeah, we didn't have to pledge any assets. They're just assumed to be pledged. So if you have assets, just remember, if you're going to sell any big assets from your company, you have to make sure the SBA knows about it. Arthur is asking, is the $10,000 ever going to come back in full effect, or just $1,000 through the EIDL loan? Arthur, we answered this a few times. I'll make it quick. There's a pending class action lawsuit against the SBA to try to get everyone who applied that $10,000 grant. We don't know the outcome of that, but hopefully we'll hear about that in the near future. If not, like I mentioned earlier, it might just become some mailbox money a few years from now, if that's what the outcome is. All right. So in closing, guys, if you just jumped on here, it's not too late to donate to our food drive. If you guys want to donate on here, all you have to do is click on the little cash icon underneath the text box where you would normally send a message. Whatever money is raised on this live session today, I will match, and it's going to a good place. We're helping feed hungry families. Also, we have some really great real estate investing courses. We have some really great real estate training courses if you want to get into real estate sales. We add new videos every month. If you're interested in any of those, you're going to want to go to culture.estate. I'll leave a link to that down below as well in the description section, where you guys can go ahead and do that. So if you're interested in that, or maybe you just want some coaching or some business advice, we do some of that as well. You can find it all right there. All right, so we got a couple questions coming in. I also have credit cards under my personal name, but are used strictly only for business purposes. Can I still use my loan to pay them off? If you can prove that all those expenses were for your business, then you should be fine with that. Remember, expenses after January 31st are preferred. Anything before that, you want to get your accountant to let you know if you can pay those. Deborah is saying, back to my question about selling one of my restaurants. If I take the loan for less than $25,000, then does that complicate the sale of one of my locations? There is no collateral requirement for under $25,000, Deborah, so you can sell off one of your businesses. You should be fine with that. Thank you, D. Appreciate your generosity, brother. $20 raised. That'll feed a family for sure. Thank you so much for that. I'll be matching that. Thank you so much, brother. Okay, Kyle is asking, I'm wondering if and when I pay myself, if I can pay myself in a lump sum or if I need to pay myself in weekly increments. Kyle, pay yourself for services rendered. Do not give yourself a lump sum, and do not overpay yourself for what you would normally pay someone else for that service rendered. Hopefully that helps you. If you're on a W-2, you have nothing to worry about. Continue paying yourself what you were paying yourself before. Kevin Lee saying, heard SBA has to testify Thursday in front of the Senate. Just some info. That is awesome, Kevin. Thank you so much for that. I will definitely look into that and make a follow-up video once we get some information on that. That would be epic for us to receive an extra 9K or 10K for some of us who haven't gotten anything. Thank you, Deborah, for also contributing to our help feed American families. I will post pictures and videos later on this comment thread once we get out there and start feeding more people. Thank you so much for that, guys. You guys are awesome. Okay, so we'll wrap it up now. If you guys ever have any other questions, always feel free to be able to go to my website. You can actually ask questions there. There's a little icon at the bottom and that asks you if you need any assistance. You can type in a question there. I'll get that question. I can respond to you there. I tend to respond quicker on there than I do on comments here because it's very difficult for me to read through hundreds of comments. So if you do have a question and you need me to help you on, you could always go to my website. You will see the little icon at the bottom to ask you if you have a question. Type it in there, and I tend to respond to those within 24 hours. Thank you, everyone, for being so generous, and we're getting now more donations in. Thank you, C. Prang, Latanya, thank you for that. Latona, sorry, I'm really bad at reading, as you can see, even though I love reading. And thank you so much for your generous donation. Thank you, Juvie Lover, for your donation as well. My email address, guys, if you want to contact me via email, I will put it here for you. I don't normally do that, but you guys are awesome today. So I'm giving you my email address. You guys can email me there. Joy Lover, you were denied. Joy, or Juvie Lover, if you were denied, it's not the end of the world. Like I mentioned earlier, it might have been before the live stream started for most of you. If you were denied, don't think it's the end of the road. You can always do some crowdfunding. So if you've never done crowdfunding before, you can go to a website like GoFundMe and you can create a crowdfund there for your business, and you can give people a token of your appreciation for their donation. So you're going to want to spread that through your social media feeds. You're going to want to spread that through your family and your friends, because sometimes, guys, if we get denied for a loan like this, and if we consider ourselves to be entrepreneurs, we don't just stop trying. We have to find money. We have to find a way to continue on. If we just give up, guys, that does not make us good business people. Good business people always find a way to survive. And if you're passionate about your business, you'll always find a way. So if the SBA tells you no, you go and you look somewhere else. Okay? Hopefully that helps a lot of you guys. Kyle is saying, I am a SM LLC, sole member LLC, so I can back pay myself to January 31st. You can only back pay yourself to January 31st if you can prove that you've had services rendered throughout that time. Talk to your CPA about that and get some clarification on it. I would assume that I could, if I did work for my company throughout that time, I would probably pay myself. Remember, you have to pay that money back. Deborah, you're awesome. Thank you for tuning in today. Oh yeah, my CPA's info. Let me give you his information now. I'll put it in here. Peter is awesome. He's one of those guys who pushes what's legal to the limit. And he gets he definitely gets you the most amount of money that you can get. So he's a great guy. He doesn't break any laws, but he definitely finds those gray areas for everyone. One of these days I might get him on a live feed with us. Let me see if I can get him on the phone now. He always answers, but it's tax season. Let's see. I'm a sole proprietor. What can I use the EIDL loan for? Funds for? Could I use it, for example, to buy a laptop as part of this loan? If you need it to make your business succeed.
Hi, this is Pete Damian. Thanks.
If you need it to make your business succeed, and that's something you normally would have spent the money on, you can't use it to expand your business. You cannot use it to replace your laptop if you just want an upgrade. But you can most certainly use it if your laptop is no longer functional, because it's normal working capital. It's money you need for your business to keep going. Check with your CPA, but I would use it for a new laptop if I needed one for my business. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I typed in my email address. Yeah, it's up here. My email address is up there, guys. It's in the feed if you need it. Yeah, so Kyle, D is responding back to Kyle and saying that you should take your income divided by 12, and that's what you're able to pay yourself on a weekly basis or monthly basis. Sina Martin is stating that she owns a horse farm. if I accept the EIDL loan, can I sell my farm at a later date? I am in agriculture. Also do all agriculture businesses get approved? Just because you're in an agriculture business doesn't guarantee you to get approved, but you're being looked at right now. No one outside of agriculture is being looked at. If you sell your horse farm later, you will have to pay off that EIDL loan for sure. They're not going to excuse that and keep it no collateral. And I'm sure you probably got more than $25,000, Sina. So yes, and I'm hoping that you'll sell it for a profit. So if you do have a profit, you could easily wipe out that debt right away. My advice, guys, as a business owner, you want to be as debt free as possible. That makes your books look so much more strong, and it makes your business that much more reliable. And you don't have that monkey on your back. Remember, guys, your business was your passion at one point when you first started. And over time, as you add more overhead and more debt, it starts to become this huge monkey on your back. The minute you can knock off some of that debt, and that's the blessing, I believe, the silver lining in this whole pandemic that we're experiencing, is that I don't know about you, but I have definitely gone through my line items, our monthly expenses, with a fine-tooth comb, and we've gotten rid of, I would say, 60% of the things that were not necessary to make our business function. And that includes some personnel, that includes services that we haven't really taken advantage of. We've kept literally the only items that we needed to make our business stable and to continue to grow. So you may want to do that as well. Yeah, monthly, definitely. Divided by 12, that's your income monthly. But obviously, he'll be paying himself weekly, so whatever that is on a monthly basis, divide that by 4. Once approved, how long does it take to receive the funds? Guys, it's taking a few days, and it's taking some people 3 days. It's taking some people about a week or 2. So hopefully that answers all your questions. All right, I'm going to be wrapping it up right now. I just want to say in closing, if you guys enjoyed these videos, these live streams, we can do more of these. We can do it once a week where we can educate each other on whatever business topic you want. I know this EIDL loan stuff is not going to last forever. So if you have business topics you want to cover, let me know about it. Send them my way. You guys can either email me or you can send me a message on my website, culture.estate, and we'll start doing these more often. I love doing these, guys. Thank you, J-Lac, for the contribution just now. Thank you so much for that. If you guys are still interested in contributing, we're going to end our live session pretty soon. So you're still able to contribute to feeding American families, which I'll be matching any donations for. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. And we will be doing more videos throughout the week with follow-ups on any new EIDL loan updates that we may be hearing. Once again, God bless, and you guys be safe out there, and make sure that you are doing the right thing with this money. And there is no set guidelines, but we're all trying to work together as a group to find out what we can and can't do. So as always, guys, God bless and have a great day. Thank you so much. You guys have been amazing today.